Hello guys, this is Prime Concept. You're welcome once again to my channel. In this video, I want to analyze a particular question based on what we've learned already previously. And we have this, it said, write this complex number z equals minus 1 plus I root 3. Write it in polar form. Also find the principal argument. So we have two questions in one to analyze. So let's start by writing it in polar form. So let's see what to do. We have two ways we approached this from our previous video. So do well to check it. If you've not seen that video, do well to check it. Now let's solve. So x from this, x is negative 1, and then y, the imaginary part, is root 3. So we want to find the magnitude r, which is x squared plus y squared. So r is going to be the square root of minus 1 squared, the square root of 3 squared. So this is the square root of minus 1 squared is 1, plus now this would fizzle this, then I have 3. So it means that my r, the square root of 1 plus 3 is 4, is the square root of 4, which becomes 2. So the square root of 4 is 2. So we've gotten our r. The next thing we want to find is alpha. Alpha is tan inverse, like we said, of the absolute value of y, all divided by the absolute value of x. So this is tan inverse of absolute value, simply means take the positive values. So our y is root 3, our x is the positive 1. So my alpha is tan inverse of root 3. Tan inverse of root 3 is, if you don't want to use your calculator, let me just help you do a rough sketch. This is 30, this is 60. Very quickly, this is 1. Okay, if I do this is 1 1. I'm sorry, this 2 2 1 2 root 3. So this is what we have. So this is a quick way of remembering this. So opposite over adjacent is 1 over this. So and this is opposite over adjacent. So it's actually 60 degrees. So tan 60 is root 3 over 1. Tan 60 is opposite over 1. So with this diagram, you can always find tan 60, tan 30. So if you know that tan 60 is root 3 over 1, you should know that tan inverse of root 3 should be 60 degrees. So this is why I just gave you this handy method. For some of the exams on this, you won't be allowed to use calculator. That's why I'm doing this for you, to help you. So tan inverse of root 3 is actually 60 degree. So we've gotten our alpha to be 60 degree, or if you want to write it in radian, you can say or pi over 3 radian. Now, to write our answer, we have two ways we can write this answer. Let's use the first way. Our answer is going to be r into cos theta plus I sine theta. Notice that it is theta, but what we have gotten is alpha. So just check my previous video, you will see the breakdown introduction on how to do this. We are just applying what we've learned so far. So we have that the next thing we want to do is to determine which quadrant this complex number falls. So if I should draw my quadrant here, I have negative x and positive y. Negative x, positive y. So I'm in the third quadrant. So remember, in the third quadrant, our theta is going to be 180 minus alpha. That is what we do in the third quadrant. So meaning that if I say theta 180 minus alpha, which is 60, I would have 60 from this is 20. So I have 120 degrees. So for me to write my complex number in polar form, it's going to be z equals r, which is 2 into cos 120 plus I sine 120 degree. So this is my answer. But of course, like we emphasized, that it is possible if you're writing a SAT exam, that is OBJ, or your JAMB or WAEC exam, OBJ, you may not see this correct option, this correct answer in your option. There are still other possible answers you can have. Another possibility is to use alpha rather than theta. So we'll be using r into cos alpha plus I sine alpha. This is another possibility. But if you are using this, you need to consider the signs in that particular quadrant you're dealing with. So if you want to use alpha and not theta, you would notice that your complex number is in the second quadrant. And if you recall your cast, in your second quadrant, only sine is positive, cos is negative. So I'm going to write my answer by saying r is 2 into cos is negative in that quadrant. So I'll say minus cos alpha, which is what? 60 plus. Now sine is positive, so that's why I'm maintaining this positive, plus I sine 60. So that is my answer, which if I want to write it in a better way, I will just factorize, bring out this negative sign. So I'll have negative 2 into cos 60 degree. Then this plus becomes negative I sine 60 degree. So this answer will be correct, so that when you open up this, you get the same thing. So it's either I have this as my answer or I have this. Any one of them must be found present in your exam options. So we are done with writing this complex number in polar form. And the next thing, the next part of our question is that we should find the principal argument of this complex number. Now, you should also do well to check my video on principal argument. I also explained the concept of principal argument. So for principal argument, we have by quadrants, so which we are going to use to determine the principal argument. Remember that our x is already -1 and our y is the square root of 3. So these are x and this is our y. Now, which quadrant does it fall? -x, y means we're in the second quadrant. So, and for second quadrant, the principal argument is going to be pi, which is 180 minus tan inverse of absolute value of y over absolute value of x. So this is the formula we use to find principal argument when we are in the second quadrant. So let's quickly do that. So I have pi, which is actually 180 minus tan inverse of my y, which is root 3, my x, the absolute value of x means 1. So I have pi minus tan inverse of root 3, right? So I have 180, which is pi, minus tan inverse of root 3 is 60 degree, which we've gotten already. And I have pi minus, now remember that 60 degrees, same thing as pi over 3. So if I subtract these two, I have 3 times pi is 3 pi. 3 pi minus 1 pi is going to give me 2 pi over 3. So what I've gotten is my what? Principal argument. So my principal argument is 2 pi over 3, which is same thing as 120 degree. So that is the answer to this problem. So if you understand what I've done so well, please do well to hit the like button, drop a comment, tell me how much or how well you understand what I've done. Tell me the next thing you would want me to do. Thanks for watching. This is Prime Concept. I'll see you in my next video.